On a nice day for the averages, I think we need to deal with one of the biggest worries out there right now, and that's the fear that the U.S. auto market may have peaked. After roaring higher last year, auto sales have slowed down in 2017. Many car companies now relying on promotions to spark demand. That's why I want to get a read on the industry from a company that's totally plugged into the automobile food chain, Magna International. First time on the show, MGA. This company makes all sorts of car parts, from mirror systems, seat structures, door sealants, and then far more complex portions of an automobile that we have to talk about. In fact, Magna even assembles complete vehicles for some of the world's largest automakers. And while Magna's stock is not too far from its 52-week high, we have to ask if we should be concerned about a second-half slowdown, as GM emphasized when it reported this very morning. Let's go right to the source by checking in with Donald Walker, the CEO of Magna International, hear more about the state of his company and the broader auto industry. Mr. Walker, welcome to Mad Money. Good to see you, sir. Have a seat, Don. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, so I'm listening to GM call today, and I said, boy, am I glad I have Magna, because I really felt that they were saying it's over. Peaked, not it's peaking, but peaked. Second half's going to be very tough. Is that your read of the situation?
Well, it depends. It's a global industry, so we always look at it globally. China, pretty steady, a huge industry. That's the biggest production area in the world, and it keeps on going pretty strong.
Okay.
Europe is actually continuing to go up a little bit, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's a slowdown in North America. There's a lot of factors there, but it's a cyclical industry. It goes up and down. We've had a good run for a long time. But I think there's still demand. If you look over a 3 or 5 year horizon, there's still good demand in North America.
Well, should we think that Magna would be hostage to the stock performances of GM and Ford over time?
Well, it really depends. It's a global industry. Right. We sell globally. So, GM, Ford, and Chrysler are important to us, BMW, Mercedes. So it really depends on what's going to happen in the world, what's going to happen with the economy in the world. Right. But there were some trends in the industry for a global supplier that we believe will allow us to continue to grow faster than the industry. So even if it slows down,
I want to talk about electrification and autonomous driving. Because, I mean, interrupt, I'm sorry, but I just think that what makes it so that the future could be yours is that if you emphasize those two, those are great secular growth stories that really aren't necessarily part of the cycle, right?
Well, they're certainly emerging. There's a lot of things going on in the industry. Lightweighting is going to continue to be big. Right. Not pure electric vehicles, but electrification of vehicles, eventually becoming pure electric vehicles, is coming. And autonomous driving features, I think autonomous driving vehicles are way out there, but the autonomous driving features are penetrating very quickly.
And you have made your company at the forefront of making these things, as opposed to just we hear Mobileye, okay, or we hear NVIDIA chips, but that's technology. Someone has to put it together. That's you.
Well, we have a combination. We work with Mobileye. So one of the unique things about Magna is we can design and build and understand complete vehicles. So we're looking at a system in a vehicle, or how to make a vehicle, an autonomous driving vehicle. There's a lot of, you can take the technologies, but there's a lot of different technologies. Some we own, some we partner, some we might invest in. But somebody's got to take all those and figure out how to put it together and sell that to the car companies in a system.
Are you neutral like Switzerland? I mean, would you work with a Waymo, which got to deal with Chrysler? Would you work with NVIDIA chips versus Mobileye? Are you wedded to any particular?
We're open. So we develop technology internally. We work with various customers. We work with partners. We also have been investing a lot in VCs and startup companies. So wherever we can get the best technology, we want to package it up and get it to our customers. It's fully tested. It's going to work. They know it's going to work if we're bringing it to them, and grow the business. So we're open to anything.
Okay, now a new wrinkle here. We have President Trump, and he's concerned about NAFTA. You're a Canadian company, so at once I have to say, well, geez, U.S. companies are having trouble moving to Mexico because the president doesn't like that. But then again, the president is trying to reconfigure NAFTA. Where are you? Are you ready for the political turmoil that could be ahead of us?
Well, I actually think one of the reasons our stock price is underpriced right now is because there's concern with NAFTA. Yeah, we're Canadian-based. We actually have more employees. We have 25,000 employees in the U.S. We have more than in Canada, and we're also big in Mexico. But I look at NAFTA as a trading partner. We need to make sure we keep it solid. We keep it competitive, because it's Asia, it's Europe that are really competing, and NAFTA has to be competitive. So I think fair trade is good. I think fair trade with the rest of the world is good. And from what I see, and they can tweak it, but it already works pretty efficiently. We're just going to make sure they don't do something to damage the effectiveness of all three countries working together.
In a previous presidential regimes, I would have said that Donald Walker has a voice in the White House, that he'd be able to call. Is this White House just not talking to any people who aren't American business leaders?
No, I think there's been a very good cooperation of the whole automotive industry, which would be the parts suppliers, the OEMs, and they're having very good and close discussions with people in Washington, people in Canada. I think Mexico is involved as well. I think there's a really good understanding now of how important it is we work together. We don't want to damage the industry. So I think there's been good cooperation and good discussion, and Wilbur Ross involved, and Wilbur Ross knows the industry very well.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I would say that had not, even 7 months ago, I would be concerned that was too much of a Pollyannish view. But if Wilbur Ross is involved, Wilbur Ross stands for trying to get the best for the less. You know, he wants to do the best for the American people, but he also has a very good worldwide outlook. So you're confident that he's got Magna in mind, because Magna's been a low-cost producer for as long as I've been alive.
Well, quite frankly, for Magna, we don't really care from a shareholder standpoint where we're located. We can be anywhere.
Right.
I would like to see Canada remain competitive, obviously, but as long as NAFTA remains competitive, the auto parts business is a $1 trillion business. Right. We're about $35 billion, growing to $43 billion by 2019. We have about a 3.5% market share. So if we're competitive and we have good technologies, there's huge growth opportunities. I just want to make sure that NAFTA maintains its competitiveness, and we have that as an industry in North America.
Well, Don, I'm so glad you came on, because it's a company that I've liked. I used to recommend it constantly when I was at Goldman Sachs, because you've always been consistent and with a great secular growth story, and you continue to do so. It's really great to have you on, first time on our show. That's Donald Walker's the CEO of Magna International. It's a very good, and I have to tell you, very inexpensive stock. Mad Money's back after the break. Booyah! Jim Cramer here from Mad Money. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube. Click here to subscribe and get the jump on my exclusives with CEOs, plus market news, investing advice, and a whole lot more.